everybody, my name is Deborah Koeppel, and welcome to Cabana Talk with Abfabwomen. We are here at the beautiful Loews Lake Las Vegas Resort in fabulous Viva Las Vegas, and I am here with Michael A. Harris, author of Windsweeping. Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for
Deborah.
coming out.
Thank you for
now, your novel is fictional.
Very much so, yes.
Yes. But it's kind of based on some true stories of...
Well, not really. I mean, I think you get into it and you realize that it's very much fiction, but there are elements of it that, I actually experienced. And I think any author uses those kinds of autobiographical or at least self-experiences to write about, because it's things they know about.
Right.
So there are some elements in there, and I could tell you stories about some of them.
Well, it really focuses on 5 elements of love, and that is patience, forgiveness, humility.
Sacrifice, humility.
Sacrifice. Were those the 5?
And listening.
And listening, yes. And it's not just listening, is it? It's really hearing.
It's really listening with empathy.
Okay.
It's being able to listen to all the things that are being said and all the things that are being left unsaid. And I think a quote in the book is that listening is hearing with memory. And when you combine the memory with the hearing, you truly are listening to things that happened in the past or that may happen in the future based on what your experience is with the person you're listening to.
Right. So this in the book, the characters are David and Catherine. They're a married couple, and you really hit the nail on the head on their relationship about not, when they grow apart and don't take the time to listen, don't take the time to sacrifice, don't take the time for forgiveness. Where did you come up with these characters? How did you come up with this storyline?
Well, that's a good question. I've been thinking about the storyline for a number of years. And as I grow older and my friends are older and have been married for a number of years, you see these kinds of elements transpiring in relationships. It's not that they don't love each other or care about each other, it's just that their experience and life interests kind of go in different directions, and they no longer use their experiences together to foster a good, solid relationship. And I've seen that. I mean, I think we've all seen that. And so I think it's not an uncommon story. But I wanted to do something that would put David in a position where he could be taught those things in a way that would emphasize them, that would really sink home. Because I suspect most women, and men for the same reason, try to teach their spouses or their significant others these kinds of elements, but generally speaking, we do a pretty lousy job of it. So this fictional fantasy story helps drive those points.
But there's a lot of truth in it too, because this character Lorraine, who helps him learn about the 5 elements of love, it's not a true story, obviously, but isn't that a place where we all come from, and that is love? Isn't that why? I mean, this is
Absolutely.
these are my thoughts anyway. And, we're put on this earth to love, I think, and I think that's based on a very true premise. Whether the character David was in an auto accident, and he has these dreams, and through these dreams he meets Lorraine, and Lorraine teaches him how to love.
But Lorraine isn't a real person.
Exactly.
The book travels back in time to a period before people were born, and it's not really based on any particular religion or thought, but I think everybody somehow intuitively feels like this life wasn't the beginning, that they came from someplace else. And so this zeroes in on that story, and Lorraine is from a period of time before David was born, and so she knows him, but he of course doesn't know her. And so he's at a very extreme disadvantage. And when men are in that position, they tend to listen better than when they feel like they've got the upper hand.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask you here. This book is fictional, but how can women teach their men how to love? Is there any way to direct their men into feeling those emotions and really wanting to make a change?
I think men want to love, and the premise of the story is they just don't really know how to put all the pieces together. And what Lorraine did for David in this particular story was teach him step by step. Instead of demanding it all from him all at once, she built upon blocks that he he could learn and he could utilize, and then he could take the next step. It's kind of like doing math problems, really. And to a man, that generally makes sense.
So,
and so
thinking logistically versus emotionally.
And so she started with listening with him and helped him understand what real listening was. And then from there she moved on to humility, which is being able to be teachable. And once that takes place, he could see how the pieces of listening and humility fit together. Once he began to master those skills, then sacrifice became very easy for him.
Sure.
Because he could see the need and the reason for sacrifice, and he was being able to be taught what it was that he needed to sacrifice for. And then the other two just kind of naturally fell into place because patience and forgiveness come as a result of really sacrificing on somebody's behalf. Now, I don't know that this is, a surefire way to do it, but it's what I felt worked best for the character in this book. And I would suggest that if women want to try that, they should do that.
Well, I think this is a good book. Like I said, even though it is fictional, it would be a good book to give to their spouses or their significant others to kind of read and open up a discussion at the very least. Excuse me, on learning that.
What I have found is that men and women like this book for different reasons. Women like it because it lays out in logical fashion the things that they're trying to teach their lovers forever. And men like it because it incorporates kind of a man's point of view of driving fast cars and going windsweeping and doing the things that men enjoy doing often by themselves. And so it blends those two elements together. And one of the tag issues that we had on this book once when we were trying to do some promotion with it is, it's the book that your wife will sit on your chest and read to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. So it's a good one, actually, because to me it is more than a fictional, because it does delve into your emotions.
Sure.
And makes you realize the elements of love, and really that's something that we all should practice each and every day.
One of the comments that I received on this book is that, and this was from a man who said it changed his life. I mean, he was able to look at these things and look at his relationship differently, but he was disappointed that I didn't go into the changes that Catherine needed to take place, because she was a flawed character as well. I mean, she wasn't, totally perfect like her alter ego Lorraine was. And I purposely left it that way because the dynamics of this is that Lorraine ultimately teaches David. David will teach Catherine. We know what Catherine is capable of. We know what her significance is. How does she get there from here? And that was left to the reader to come up with that conclusion. So it wasn't like I was playing favorites and picking one over the other. It's not that at all.
True. And I can see that in the book. Catherine came from a place where I think a lot of women feel in some relationships where you're not communicating, and she felt lonely and unloved. And
exactly, not appreciated.
So instead of communicating that and trying to be the example of what she wanted, she kind of just withdrew. Anger, all that stuff.
Exactly, that's exactly right.
That's why I just love this book. So you named it Windsweeping. So tell me, what is windsweeping?
Windsweeping, by definition, is driving preferably a high-performance vehicle, but it can be any vehicle. It can be a bicycle if you want it to be. But the key elements to windsweeping are you're driving with no destination in mind and no time constraint pulling you back. So you can go windsweeping for as little as 10 minutes, or 10 days, or 10 years. There is no time constraint. Great music plays in the background, the kinds of things that really sink into you, and of course that's different for everybody. And it's where you work through all the issues and elements of your life. And I think we all do that. I mean, I've done that for years. I created a name for it once when I bought a car that I thought was my windsweeping car, and I've used that ever since. So I knew when I wrote this that the title would be Windsweeping.
Yeah, that was great. We all wish we could just kind of take off in a car and put the top down and head on the highway of life and
exactly.
just kind of connect again. So do you do that yourself?
Oh,
do you hop
absolutely.
in your car and just kind of take
You
your
know,
time
to be
and-
honest, writing this book has taken a better portion of a year. My wife and I have been windsweeping for the last year. We basically looked at each other and said, let's go do this.
That's wonderful.
And so we've been living in hotels and different places and you know, short-term rentals on occasion when we knew we needed to be someplace longer. And so I've been windsweeping for the last year, and will do it the rest of my life. So.
I do it on the treadmill. I
Well,
mean, that
there
just
you
takes,
go.
I'm not in the car or anything, but it just takes me to another zone, and I get all kinds of ideas, and, you know, so, anyway, but I really enjoyed this book, and you can get it on, where can you get your book?
You can get the book at, we mostly suggest people go to Amazon for lots of different reasons, but it's at Barnes & Noble, Borders,
There's Windsweeping, so.
pretty much all the outlets.
So, well, thank you so much for coming with us, Pete, and I really appreciate it, and taking the time out, so. Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody, and I wish you a wonderful day, and until next time, bye-bye.